Out. People are talking. We're gonna have to do it again. Boys State, attention! Boys State, take seats! Now, we have a guest speaker. To introduce our guest speaker, I will present to you Phil.
My people, I'm back. Chance here to introduce our lunchtime speaker. We had a little bit of opportunity to chat with him over lunch. Not going to make the introduction too long because I've actually asked him to tell you a little bit about, give you actually a more detailed biography of himself and to connect it to you. But in 1994, our speaker, Congressman Evan Jenkins, was elected to the West Virginia House of Delegates, representing Cabell and Wayne counties, where he served from 1995 to 2002. In 2002, he was elected to represent Cabell-Wayne counties in the West Virginia State Senate, where he served till 2015. 2014, he had the opportunity to win the election to become West Virginia's 3rd Congressional District Member of Congress. So I give to you my congressman, actually, from the 3rd District, Congressman Evan Jenkins.
Thank you, Phil. It is awesome to be here. I want everybody who's running for office this week to stand up. Let's give them all a big round of applause. All right, candidates can sit down. Let's give your governor a big round of applause. Niall, stand up. Now, Phil asked me to say a couple of words about background and what got me to this, to kind of share with you kind of the roadmap and the story. I'm a 3rd generation West Virginian. My great-great-granddad was Fire Boss Jenkins, a coal miner. He died in a coal mine explosion. Didn't know him, that was many generations ago, but he was up in Pennsylvania. And my great-grandfather worked his way down to West Virginia, and for 3 generations now we've lived in Huntington. How many Cabell County folks do we have here? All right, we got us a few scattered around. Glad you're not all in one group. That's terrific. I've got 3 kids. My children range from a sophomore, rising junior in high school, a junior in college, and my oldest is a United States Marine. Through each and every one of you, the fact that you are here this week shows you have a commitment to develop your skills, to learn how to give back to your communities, how to serve your country, how to help your neighbor, and just bottom line, you want to serve. You are so far ahead of the curve. If I was smart enough in high school to come to Boise State, my interest in public service didn't candidly come till really after college. I ran for student government where I went to school and was elected a student senator. I went out there and walked around campus handing out flyers, asking people to vote for me, and we won, but then it got away from it. And in about 1992, after working in Charleston for a few years, I started looking at the folks in the West Virginia legislature, and I looked at those seats down there on the House floor. I was sitting up in the balcony, and I said, you know what, those seats look a little more comfortable down there on the floor. I wonder how I could be in one of those seats. You chose to be in one of these seats today. You're West Virginians. We are a special people. You know, sometimes we get beat up a little bit, but we know because of who we are, because of what we do, we care for people. Let me tell you about one family. Last summer, end of June, the floods that ravaged West Virginia, southern West Virginia, my congressional district in particular. Who remembers that house that was on fire floating down Howard's Creek? It captured the attention of the world to think that here is a house on fire floating down a creek. You would not believe how people stepped up to the plate. Whether it be service organizations like the Mennonites, whether it be the federal support and state government lending a hand, Red Cross, church groups, faith community. We are coming back. We are people who take care of one another. And about a month before Thanksgiving, 2-3 months after that house floated down Howard's Creek, I was standing on the front porch of that family. And their house was not 10 miles away. It was on that exact same spot where it had floated away from just a few weeks before. Now it was a little bit higher, the foundation was up, but that was about pulling together. You're going to be challenged this week. Take the most of this opportunity. Seize the moment. Learn these leadership skills and these desires to serve your neighbors and your community. Take them back. You have got so much incredible opportunity to help people. But you've got to take chances. You've got to take risks. Life is full of people who don't take risks. Life is full of people who just sit back and say, you know what, I'll just let somebody else take care of it. It's kind of easy just sitting here on the couch. But you will not be all that you can be if you just sit there on the couch. Our country is dependent on you. Our state is dependent on you. What 375 young men here today can go back to their community and serve and help, whether you get involved in your church, your school, your community, go back and do something. We need you. But I also challenge you to make good choices in life. You don't know it, and you're probably not thinking about it, but the decisions you make and the choices you make will impact your opportunities later in life. My son that's in the Marines never thought when he was in high school or college that he was going to be in the Marines. He got out of college 2 years ago. He worked in the real world for a year. He said, this isn't fulfilling. I want to go be a Marine. I want to serve our country. He went to the recruiting center to become a candidate for officer candidate school. He called me and said, Dad, you would not believe the questions that they asked me about the things that had happened in my life. They wanted to know about that speeding ticket back when I was 18. They wanted to know about his drug use. He hadn't had any, proudly. They wanted to know what his grades were in school. They wanted to know about had he ever bounced a check. He would not have the opportunity to fulfill his dream right now, being in the Marines, had he made bad choices 4 and 5 and 6 years previously. So the decisions you make and the choices you make and something that may seem fun and opportunistic and oh, nobody will know, those things may come back and limit your ability. I'm not talking about the consequences of your action the next day. I'm talking about the consequences of your actions 5 years from now or 8 years from now and what you may or not be able to do. So make good decisions. Pursue this passion of service. Take risks. Put yourself forward. You know what? This world is full of people that are kind of intermediate, mediocre. You can just get by on basic talent. Whether you're in sports activities or academically. But if you really want to get to those higher rungs, it's competition, folks. At our house, losing is not an option. You got to work for it. You got to put forth the time and energy. But you may stumble along the way. That's okay. Evander Holyfield this morning was on the news talking about being inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame as one of the greatest boxers ever. And he was talking about the fact that he almost gave up boxing because he lost at a young age to one guy twice. And you know what his story is? It was my mama that said, get back in that ring. But Mama, I don't want to. He beat me. Get back in that ring, Evander. And he did. And he fought this guy a second time and he lost a second time. Then he was really ready to give up. And his mama said, no, you're not giving up. Keep training, keep working, keep after it. And he went back and he beat him. Third time was the charm for Evander. He's now in the Boxing Hall of Fame, considered maybe one of the greatest boxers ever. So don't take those stumbles in life. Now the last thing I want to mention, and I had a great conversation with Niall, and I said, Niall, what was your secret to winning the governorship this past year? He said, Evan, what I like to do is, my campaign was really about listening and saying, I want to go and actually carry out what you all want me as an elected official to do. And I ran out to my car after Niall told me that. And I thought about, you can't see it, but this is my voting card. Here's my voting card. Tonight at 6:30 on the House floor in Washington, D.C., I'll be there. I'm driving back to D.C. now. We will have votes at 6:30, and I'm going to be sticking this card in our voting box. All 435 names are up there on the wall in front of us. I put that in there and I punch red or green, and a little red or green light comes up next to my name. But thinking about what Niall said about his campaign, this is an important example of leadership. And what he said is, as your governor, I want to go be a voice for you of what you want me to do. And here's my point. Elected representatives can do one of two. You got to decide kind of which way it is. Do people vote for you because they entrust you to go to Charleston or Washington or Boise State and make good decisions, and we're going to give you our proxy? Or is the approach, I feel like I am to represent your collective will? And if the majority feels strongly about something, I may not quite agree, but I'm a representative of you. Now, it's not quite that clear cut. I recognize there are some issues that just, even when the vast majority says it's one thing, it just still may not be the right thing. So when you think about your potential candidacy, think about what kind of governing and leadership you want to do. Do you think people are giving you their proxy to simply go off and do what you want to do? Or do you think they're giving you their vote to say, we want you to represent us? I'll be thinking of you all at 6:30 from Washington, D.C. in the United States Capitol, sitting there on the House floor. My last comment is, people often ask me, what's the greatest part of serving in Congress? And I asked Niall that same part about this year's governor. And he said, it's the chance to meet people. And I agree wholeheartedly. Let me mention 3 people that were freshmen with me in 2014. Number 1, Martha McSally. Martha McSally is the first female combat mission pilot in American military history. A freshman in Congress in 2014 from Arizona, she won her seat by 160 votes. Congressional districts have roughly 700,000 people. Less than half of the people in this room would have dictated the outcome of a congressional seat in Washington. If you think your vote doesn't matter, think about Martha McSally. Vote. Vote. Will Hurd out of Texas, freshman with me, 10 to 12 years as an undercover CIA operative in the Middle East. Came out of the closet from being a CIA operative, put his name on the ballot from Texas, won. You want to talk about a rock star? We've got people like Will Hurd, who's a CIA undercover agent for his professional career, now serving in Congress. The third one, Ryan Zinke, currently the Secretary of Interior. Ryan Zinke was a freshman with me 2 years ago. Donald Trump tapped him to be the Secretary of Interior. He is a Navy SEAL. He led SEAL Team 6. He was a SEAL for like 10, 12 years. He has a door panel from the bedroom of Saddam Hussein when he raided one of the palaces in the Middle East. This guy is a rock star. You've got people from around the country serving in Congress that have great stories, that have great livelihoods, have served our country. So, thank you for being here this week. Thank you to all our military heroes who are behind Boys States and the American Legion. Think about these POW tables at the end of the room and those folks who have paid the ultimate sacrifice for our country. Now go out there, have a great week. If you're victorious in the campaign, congratulations. If you come up a few votes short, come back stronger next time. God bless you. Thank you for being West Virginians.